Let's learn how you can use Google Sheets to create a newsletter sign up for absolutely free, in which your Google Sheet will send an email to your user for absolutely free. So let's take a look at it, how we can do that. Hey guys, welcome to Code with Mark, where I share helpful videos to help you become a professional web developer a lot faster. If you are interested in learning how to become a professional web developer a lot faster and learn technologies like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, MongoDB, MySQL, and others that are going to help you create amazing, awesome web development app, do consider subscribing to the channel. All right, so if you have watched any of my previous Google Sheet or app script to video, then this is going to be something that you are absolutely going to love. If you love any of my previous videos, they're going to be like, you're going to be blown away, trust me. So in this video, we're going to learn how we can create a newsletter sign up just using your Google web development app thing. So let me show you how it does, and then we'll walk you through with the whole code. So let's say we have two screens in here. One of them is in which a user can enter their name and email and sign up for it, and then they will get a login code. And once they get the login code, they're gonna click over here and then put in the login code, and then after that they will get whatever they are supposed to get it. So let's sign up first. So let's go Mark. Awesome. And then this is just my temporary email, which I don't really use it as much. So if you send me their email there, I'm probably not going to respond to it. So click on sign up. It's going to go. And then looks like I may have already signed up for it. That's why I didn't do it. So let's delete these things and let's do it again. So we're going to click on sign up. And it's gonna send it. Then it's gonna check your email for your login code, and just literally this is the login code. And then also this is the login code that it has, and also gives you the URL in which you just can click on it and type this code in here. So let's copy this, click on this, it will open up again. And this time around, I'm gonna go over here, type in the code, which is the exact same one, and then click on validate code. And then after it's done, it's going to give me this URL. This is what I have. Obviously, you can create your own kind of thing that you want, right? So that's that. So this is how we gonna use this. So this is how it works. So let's take a look at how to build this. So once again, this is the one that it will record it into your sign up. So speaking of which, let's go over to your Google Sheet, which we are now in. And then we have a sheet that's called sign up. Then we have links, in which we're gonna show a random link based on Google Sheet in this particular one. So we can, let's say we have 4 links. Out of 4 links, we have a function in which it will give the user a random link to pick. So if I go over here, let's go to here and type in the user password login code. So we got Google. If I do it again, just show you this. If we do it again, then we have this, so on and so forth. This is how I programmed it. Obviously, when you create your own web app, your requirement might be different. So this is that. And then we have another sheet called the URL, in which when I sent the email, this right here, this is where it comes for. And also, I will point this out that your Gmail, which Google Sheet use, whichever account that you have using it to create it, it does have a limit because I don't use this particular account as much. So I only have a limit of 100 emails per day, but more you use, the higher your limit will be. So depending on how often you use Gmail. All right, so let's go deep dive into how do we create this wonderful, amazing system and what all you need to do to incorporate it into your web development app. So once again, we're gonna go over here, extensions, apps, script. Or I just want to give you a quick reminder that I have this special gift that's going to help you that you can get it at this URL. Don't forget to get it. And don't worry, I'm going to leave a link in the description for you to make it easier. All right, now back to your video. And then we're going to go over here. And then if you watch any of my previous Google Sheet web development app tutorial, you'll know exactly what's happening here. But just in case if you don't, this is the first thing that is going to run once it loads up. And then we're gonna go, and this is the name of the app that is gonna have, which you can see right over here. And then this part over here, which is the main screen, which is the file, which has the HTML in it, which will be right over here. I just call it index HTML, but you can call it whatever you want. And then also, if you look over here, this first file, and then we have the library that I included in here. It's called the ALASQL. Basically, it's like your JavaScript, but using MySQL kind of statement. It's pretty damn powerful. And you are gonna love it when you see it, like, holy cow, I can actually use that with a JavaScript, vanilla JavaScript, and it's amazing library. I use it for all of my projects wherever I feel like I need to use it. All right, so this one connects it to your Google Sheet based on what sheet name you want to do it, and meaning not do it, but which sheet you want to connect to it. So let's say we have 3 sheets in here. Let's say if I want to go to my sheet that's named signups, and I want to pull up information, all of these, then I could just literally put in a parameter called sign up, and it will connect to that, and then I could do whatever I want with that particular sheet. All right, so the next, last but not least, is the get last row, which means if I want to connect to this and I call that function, the last row that has the information, which will be row number 3, is going to give me that particular row number. And then we have a local function. This is something that we're just using to send email, which is your send email sign up, and then get a random link based on that, and then auto code, which is just a string based on numbers and letters. And then this is just going to give me the date and time, and that's that. And then we have our Google Sheet AJAX functions, where we are actually sending information from HTML over to Google Apps Script. And then your app script just acts like if you're using a PHP environment. It's going to be something similar to that you do in your PHP. And let's go over to our HTML file. And in here, I will leave the link in the description for you, in which you can literally go in here, copy this sheet into your Google Drive, so that way you can utilize it, copy the code, so that way you don't have to type it, because it's pretty decent amount of code. So I'm just using this library called Awesome Function and the Twitter Bootstrap 4.5, and HTML is pretty basic, so I'm not sure if I need to go into it, but it's pretty basic. The meat and potato, what I will go into it, is the actual, when I click on, let's say, sign up or validate code, what happens when you click on it? How do you send that information over to AppScript? That's the main point of it. Because once you understand that, then other stuff is just pretty easy thing to do. All right. So this is the one that does the loading of the screen, which means if I click on this, sign up, it's going to load up the sign up screen. Then it's going to click on this, login, it's going to load up login screen. And then basically what that does is, so these are the screens right here, and then right here. And then it's going to take, let's say, login sign up screen. It's going to copy all of this and put it into here, and that's it. And that's what this particular function does. And then when someone clicks on the sign up, it's going to go check to see if somebody actually filled in their name, their email, the right amount, which means it has the user ID, @ symbol, and then whatever the email address that it has. So it does that. And once it does that, validates it, then it's going to put it into this particular uh, JSON object called check. Then it's going to show you, please wait, processing your request. And this is your JSON AJAX information that is going to send it over to Google Apps Script. So this is the function that your AJAX function that Google actually offers, your Google Sheets. You can only use this, not your regular JSON, because it will not work. So just use this function, and then it has this particular function name is what's gonna be on the other library, which we're gonna go in here. And then it will take this, your JSON object, which has your user name and email address, and then it's going to send it over. So let's take a look at this particular function, which will be under over here, which is called sheet AJAX function. So we go here, and here it is. So sign up, and then it has the parameter called AJAX object that we can extract from. And once again, this is connecting to a sheet. Remember when I said earlier, this is the function, and then I will name it, and then it connects to the sheet. And from there, I can do whatever I want to the sheet, extract information, add it, update it, so on and so forth. And then I have assigned it to a user name based on this parameter that I got from here. So username and email. And then I'm getting the all of its value, which is right now only 2 users. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a JSON array. And the reason why I'm creating it, you will see soon enough, where then I can use, remember when I say ALASQL, and it uses something similar to MySQL statement. And then once I create a JSON object right over here, array, so that I know exactly it has the line number, it has user ID, username, email, code, status, so on and so forth. And then I can say, write my regular MySQL statement, select all from, which will be this particular array, where email equals whatever the user email is. So imagine that. So if it finds an email address, then it's going to say, hey, check to see the status of it. The status in this case, so for example, first time someone signs up, it's going to have a status of a pending because they haven't keyed in their login code. So once they keyed in their login code, then their status will change to a active, then we can rock and roll from there. So this is what happens. So if we check to see if the status is pending, then it's going to show the message like, hey, check your email. We already sent you a login code. But if the status is active, then it's going to go and get a random link from the table or sheet right here where it says link. And that's that. And then if it's not in there, which means the email was not found, it's a brand new sign up, then it's going to just go and add a new line of code in here, which would be new line of row right here. And that's that. So this will be the one that is going to add it. So what that was, what this does is it's going to add a array, which will have a array with an array. And then it's going to have the username, email, code, and it's going to add just the pending as it, because they haven't clicked on the email to get the code to get that. And then this is going to be your date and time. Then it's going to get the latest populated row number. So in this case, if somebody else next signs up, they're going to have the latest one. It will add it, which will be number 4. And then in here, just adds it from column B to F because we want to ignore column A, because the column A, it has this formula in which whenever there's something in here, it's going to automatically add a row number. So let's say if I add 0000, here it is, da 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 da, da 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 da, you get the picture. And once it does it, then it's going to send the email, which I'll show you, which is right over here. So let's go all the way up, and then this is the one that sends the email. It's going to look for the login code, username, email, and then this particular function within the Google Apps Script. And if you're using your Gmail account, which you will have to, this will give you the total amount of email that are left for you to use for the day. The more you use it, the more you will get. And then we're gonna go to your app URL, which we can grab from here. So it's gonna be B1 is the app URL, and then B2 will be the current value for the total number of things. So I'm just gonna go over here, and then I'm gonna connect to the app info B2, and I'm gonna set the value, whatever that value is. I'm gonna update it. Because let's say at the beginning of this thing, I have one user come up, I have 100 emails. Next time around, it's gonna go down into 99, 98, 98, so on and so forth. So if your number is closer to, let's just say 5, and then after that, you could say, hey, wait 24 hours before you can sign up. And then we can send the email by using this particular function, which is built into Google Script. You could set to email, whichever the user ID is, user email is, and then subject line would be whatever you want to call it. I just called it sign up for blah. So if I go over here, then it says sign up for Mark. And then I'll just say, hey, username, 2 line breaks. Use this login code, whatever the code that I have. So let's go back here. So this particular code that I have is coming from this local function. Remember I said earlier that, where is it? Right here. This particular function, it just uses the regular uppercase, lowercase letters and numbers to create a generic string. So that's what's happened here. Where did it go? All right, so here we go. So this is where the code is at, and then the login URL that we just got from the app URL. And then it sends the particular email to that individual. So it will look like this. All right. So once we have signed up, when we click on this, and then let's go look at this. So let's say login is going to go check to see if the login the login code exists or not. And then this time around, same concept. Once you understand this, you could literally use this function to create, send the AJAX request to your app script. This line of code followed by this, in between here is gonna whatever you send it back to your HTML. So in this case, it would be the login ID. So if I go over here and then login ID, JSON object, it has the code, and then I'm connecting to the sheet, making a JSON array object. Then I'm checking to see if the user code exists within this. If it exists, then I am going to make that particular person's status to active. I'm going to generate a code. I'm going to send it as a JSON object as a response. And once it does, it's going to send it back to HTML. And then over here, it's going to create a hyperlink based on that particular thing. So if I go over here, I have a JSON object called URL. So what that means is if I go over here, click on it, and then it will send me the JSON object. If I click over here, look at it. So let's just do one more time. So this is the code that gets sent it, and this is the URL that it sends back, and it displays it here. And this is exactly what is happening. The last but not least, the thing that I want to show you is how do you go on and create a URL in which you can send it to somebody else who can utilize this and sign up for your newsletter. How you do that is you go over here where it says deploy, and then you're gonna click on new deployment, and then you can give it a version number. I'll just give it a number 2, and then anyone, and you're gonna click on deploy. And one thing I will tell you is that don't use this particular URL to give it to anybody else, because if you make any changes at the time of you creating the version, so in this case version 3, it's not gonna show up, and then you have to go through this process all over again. So instead, you go to deploy and then test deployment, and then copy this particular URL and go on and give it to somebody else. So I'll paste it in here. So any changes that you make, come on, here we go. And so here we go. So any changes that you make this moving forward, this particular URL does not change. And that's how you go about getting a URL. And what I would recommend is I will leave a link to this particular spreadsheet. That way you can copy it and make a copy of this particular sheet into your drive by going to File, make a copy, and then you should be all good to go. So if you found this particular tutorial helpful, do consider subscribing to the channel and give it a thumbs up. And on that way, you can also get a lot of useful information from my videos that I created. And also don't forget to click on the link below to get you a special gift that is waiting for you, that's going to help you become a web developer a lot faster. As I always said before, or every video, happy coding, guys.